3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to episode 5 of Still We Persist. My name is Tamara I'm the AYA Woman of Color Graduate Assistant.
And my name is Sienna, and I am the AYA Leadership Liaison.
Yay!
So thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to talk to you about art and Artivism with Jinal Patel. But before we start, we just want to make sure that everyone knows that every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in the hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations that can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. What we now call Corvallis, Oregon, is located within the traditional homelands of the Marys River or Ampinefu Band of the Kalapuya. Today, living descendants of these people are a part of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. Thank you. I'm so excited for this episode.
So today we have with us Jinal Patel. Hey. Jinal identifies as a queer Indian artist who has been making art since they were 5 years old. Art is something they can't live without and is their one true form of expression. A lot of their art focuses on women of color, specifically Indian women. Their art right now is focusing on self-identity as they continue to explore themselves. They work with a wide range of mediums like painting, photography, drawing, etc. Along with their art, they are a graphic designer at the Hattie Redmond Women and Gender Center and a mentor for Damn Diverse Dance, also known as 3D.
Do you want to share your pronouns?
So, as Tamara said, my name is Jinal, and I go by all pronouns, or she, he, they.
Nice.
Yeah.
And kind of before we start asking Jinal questions, we wanted to show you the art pieces that they have created. We think that this art is absolutely phenomenal and just encapsulated with like the colors and the brush strokes of it all. And personally, this is my favorite. Because I love the colors and the lips and like how you show like brown femmes in your art, which I really appreciate because we oftentimes don't see that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
But kind of like, how did you choose painting as a medium, and where do you want your art to reach?
Yeah, so like I've been painting probably for like 5 years now, and so the reason why I like kind of gravitated towards painting was like it's a very hard like medium to work with. Like a lot of people that try it out often get like frustrated with it because it's like not exactly how you want your image to look, or like if you have an idea in your brain and you want to be able to paint it, it's like very hard to like go with that decision, or like so I chose painting because it's hard, but like it like requires a lot of patience. And once you get it, like once you're able to just like paint freely and like forget about like everything, honestly, it's so much fun. Like it's so much fun to just like go crazy like on a canvas and just like do what you want to do, you know?
Also, a side note, Jinal painted the fern that is on our our tablecloth. I just realized that. I was like, so Jinal's art is everywhere in the Hattie Redmond Women Gender Center and everywhere else. But going off of your painting, like how you got into it, like where do you want to go with your painting? Like where do you want it to reach?
Yeah, so my vision for my art is to like reach worldwide, but not necessarily like in spaces that are, you know, like a lot of people would like have access to, really. I want to like broaden my art and like put it in spaces that it's like unknown to people, like in alleys or like underneath a staircase or something really random, because I feel like that really exemplifies like my true nature. Like I don't really want to showcase my art in a museum. I think that's like too like you're put in a box kind of thing. And I want my art to inspire people, and I want my art to invoke these feelings inside people. And so I feel like if I put it in those spaces, like it just has like a personal meaning to it, in my opinion, as well. And I also specifically like want my art to be in India. Maybe not right now, but like in the future, I hope to have like my artwork there and inspire like artists there as well to just follow your dreams.
Yeah. I love that you talk about bringing your art in spaces where you wouldn't like in particularly think it would be. So alleyways or like out in nature, on brick buildings, wherever, under a door, I don't know. But I think like you're making art accessible in ways that it hasn't necessarily been before. Like something that I've been thinking through a lot is the ways in which like art for the most part is inaccessible. Like it's something that people with a lot of privilege, I feel like, have been given the chance to really engage with a lot more than POC or marginalized communities, because art has been seen as something that people use as like a hobby or like an add-on, as opposed to like a form of work that someone can engage in. And so like where have like POC, like women, like marginalized communities, whatever it may be, like been taken out of art and not allowed to engage in it, as like Gloria Anzaldúa talks about engaging in art as a practice of healing. And so like the strategic, I would say like the strategic taking of art away from like marginalized communities and communities that have been harmed as a like means to not let us heal.
Exactly.
And so like
I completely agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like picture someone like walking down the street one day and getting to see your art on like the side of a building and being like, oh, like I see myself within whatever that piece is.
Exactly. And I became a part of that person's day. And they like had some sort of feeling towards it, even if it's like curiosity. And so that's what I want to like invoke in my pieces, not just like make money off of art, but like make people think. Yeah. And I think it's like hard for people to understand that, you know, you can make art for the rest of your life and like be fine. And art is a form of healing, to me at least. Like I mentioned that it's my one true form of expression. It's just like how I heal. Whenever I feel hurt or like sad about anything, I can just paint it out and then, you know, like go through all those feelings and become better in a way, or like grow from it.
Something that I wonder is like how you got interested or involved in art activism or artivism, and where do you see yourself growing from there?
So I really just got into artivism like this year, specifically like this term, in all honesty. Like I've been thinking a lot about how art can be conceptual and how like kind of like diverting from the hobbyist like sort of background, but like really bringing a lot of like conceptual like motifs into my pieces. So when I like research artivism and like realize like what it's about and like examples of it, like that kind of like stirred some inner feelings that I had myself. And so like I want people to like, because I know that art can be powerful, like it is powerful, and like the way you like make an image and present it to the world, a lot of people will interpret it differently. And so like having that mindset, I'm like, okay, so how can I bring like social justice issues into my artwork and like make people think about this thing, like so that's something I've been like thinking about a lot, and like a lot of my work right now is talking about self-identity, because that is something that not like myself is like struggling with, but like a lot of people are struggling with self-identity and like what we should do in life and whatnot. And so that's kind of just where it started from, is like having that like moment where I needed to research what it means and then kind of like adding it to my own art style.
How do you define artivism, like with your art style?
With my art style? I think, like, me personally, I like painting a lot of women of color in my artwork. So to me, that's like an example of artivism. Just even like representing them is making a huge statement, honestly. And like, I've noticed that, you know, it's taken a long time for people to like really like represent women of color in art. And like, back when I first really started painting all of it, like women of color, it wasn't really represented as much. So I was like, okay, we need to like bring these people into the light because they're so freaking awesome. And
like literally in paintings, like women of color and people of color, specifically like black folks, are seen as shadows in the background. And so like looking at the ways in which society has put us in the back to maintain our darkness elsewhere where they can't see it.
Exactly.
And so I appreciate you like center bright colors.
Yeah.
Like centering.
Like,
brown
look
feathers.
at me. Like, what do you see immediately? Like, you see the person.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is important right now. And like, I'm trying my best to like figure out different ways to bringing women of color into the light, and whether that be with photography or painting, digital art. Like, I'm really trying it all right now.
So we've talked a little bit about women of color, but how do you, like, what's your vision for queer trans people of color art?
Yeah, I think like once I become more and more, I want to say like advanced with like putting my thoughts down on paper or like putting my ideas onto the canvas. I feel like my vision for Cutie POC folks, like having them on the canvas, is first off like actually bringing them into the light too, because they're also underrepresented. So I think like I have a bunch of like ideas with specifically like with photography, because I know there's a lot of history revolving around like just going back to like artivism, like in the past, like there's been a lot of like monumental photos of Cutie POC folks, and like just bringing back that history and like reminding people like, hey, we're here, like don't ignore us, we're here. And yeah, I think like people often forget that, you know, these communities exist, and I don't know, I just find it really frustrating as well. And like, yeah, so my vision really is just to like bring them back into the light, and like, whether that be painting them more, photographing them more. I have a lot of like photo shoot ideas that I want to do that I'm not going to disclose because I'm like, but yeah, yeah, the gears are turning. And I think it definitely also helps like being in that community. Like you gain a lot of inspiration as well. Like, for example, when I work at the Hattie Redmond Women and Gender Center, like the people that I work with are often like always encouraging me to grow, and I just like want to somehow encapsulate that feeling into my art too.
I want to go rogue from the questions that we planned for you and just ask if you can walk us through a little bit like of what your artistic like practice is. Like you get an idea and then where do you go from there, and how does it kind of like come into fruition?
For sure. So like I think one common misconception that a lot of people have is that artists, like some artists do, but a lot of artists don't really stick with their original idea because it like changes like all the time. But so with me, if I get an idea, first thing I do is write it down like as much as I can remember it, honestly, and then I try and like, usually like these thoughts happen like when I'm about to go to sleep, because that's when my mind wanders a lot. So I write those ideas down, and then the next day is when I like actually plan out things. So if I want to make a painting, I immediately start with that idea that I have, and then I try and think about like other objects or colors or anything that I think from that idea. So the first thing I think of, let's say if I wanted to paint a face, the next thing that I think of when I think of the face is like what color I want to use, and then from there I like keep building off of that like thought process. And then usually like I don't really like sketch things out often. Like I kind of just go with the flow, and that's so usually when I'm like building like the idea off, I'm like already painting, you know. And so that's kind of where I like start from there. And if I don't like an idea, like I just paint over it. I usually just like, I'm also like really impatient when it comes to painting. Like I just want to get it done in a way. Like I can't work on a painting for days. Like that's torture to me. I need to like get it done within the next few hours kind of way. And yeah, that's kind of pretty much where I go from there. Like I have one idea and then I keep building off of it, sort of.
Oh.
Yeah, was that like,
Yeah.
I felt like I was
that
like,
was really helpful because I don't know what like the artistic process is and like how it comes into fruition or what happens next. And I mean, for people who may not be engaging in like creative practices often, I think like at least for me that was really validating, and that like you get an idea and then you do it and you're not like super planning it out, because as someone who like personally wants to engage in art a little bit more and like dig deep into whatever that looks like for me, I know I get like caught up in like I like make a process out of it. Yeah, and like and what do you do with that?
A lot of people think that way as well, where it's like, is my art bad? And I just, every single time someone says that to me, I'm like, no! Like, no! Your art is amazing. There is no right way to make art. Like, I just want to make that so freaking clear. There is no right way to make art. Because art is, the way you express art is different than everyone else's. You know, your mind works differently than others. And so, like, you telling yourself that, oh, this is not good enough, like, compared to, it's just like you're pretty much like comparing yourself to other people, and I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Your art is also amazing.
Do you think everyone's an artist?
Yes, for sure. I think everyone on this planet has like some form of like artist in them. And whether that be with painting, like traditional art, drawing, it could be photography, it could be music, like visual arts, fine arts, anything is like considered art, honestly. Like poetry, dancing, you know, singing, and all sorts of things. Like you can really explore and like get creative with it, because there's no right way. That is the philosophy of art.
How would you suggest people like tap in or like take that first step to kind of unlocking that creative piece?
Yeah, I think it's just the first thing you need to do is just not overthink about it. I think.
Hear that, Tamara?
Don't overthink about it.
Great.
Yeah, but I feel you. It's like, if you want to start drawing or start somewhere, just like write it down. Like write down your idea. It can be, that can be art as well. Like writing is art. And yeah, just draw immediately what comes to your brain. It doesn't matter that it looks realistic or not, honestly, as long as you like put that idea down on your on the paper. And so I think that's like a really great start, honestly, is like people just don't overthink it, just do it.
Shia LaBeouf.
Just do it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking now.
I know.
I felt like this was like art therapy session.
Yeah.
Oh,
To
good.
kind of wrap us up, like, what does self-care look like for you?
Yeah, so I think like when thinking about self-care, like it's really important for me as an artist. Like a lot of the self-care that I do is making art, because I find it therapeutic and healing for me. But I think what's important about like having that self-care like aspect of it is like making sure that you're what's the word, like distinguishing both of things. Like you're not just making art for anyone, you're making art for yourself. Like so that's, in terms of self-care, I think of like if you make art for yourself, it's a lot better than like making art for school or like commissions or whatnot. And so yeah, number one thing, like always make art for yourself. If you want to do it for like self-care reasons, that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
That's the way to go.
Just kidding. Don't cut.
We've been ending like our Woke Wednesdays with this question, and I think we've been bringing it into still like Persist as well. But any lasting words of wisdom for the Aya community?
Oh, that's so hard.
And that's something that we didn't put on this paper.
Yeah.
So you would like be fresh on the spot.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The lasting words are, Tamara is the best.
Tamara is.
Tamara.
We love Tamara.
That's it.
Oh.
Words for the community.
Oh my god. I'm like. Like some lasting words I want people to realize is that art is powerful. Art is powerful because it causes conversation. Like it can cause conversation, it can cause like hurt and love and anger, and all you're really doing is just like making a visual visual representation of how you're feeling. So I think like what I want people to realize is that art is powerful. It should never be forgotten. It should never be history. Like keep creating, keep unlocking that creative part of your brain as well. Like don't ignore it. You better not ignore it.
You better not.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
for being on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to connect with Jinal more, we'll link all of their information in the little box below. And again, thank you for joining. And if you have to reach out to us at Aya_OSU. Thank you.
Show me your paint.
Oh
yeah,
mine's
we
like
were painting
mine is
earlier.
like mine is peeling off.
Jinal was painting.
I painted
us.
on them.
Bye.
Perfect. That's it now.